Your car's smart features might be the reason it won't last 100,000 miles. From glitchy electronics to rollaway shifters, some upgrades are silently wrecking your engine, battery, and resale value. Most drivers don't notice until they're stranded. I'm breaking down 21 features that destroy reliability and shorten lifespan. Let's dive in. Feature number 21. Start-stop systems. Let's save gas by killing your starter, draining your battery, and choking your oil pressure. That's basically what start-stop systems do. Every time you hit a red light, your engine shuts off. Light turns green. It scrambles back to life like it just got slapped awake. Do that hundreds of times a week, and you're cooking your starter motor, killing your battery, and starving your engine of oil when it needs it most. Some engines rack up over 100,000 start cycles. That's not innovation. That's abuse with a green sticker. Starters fail, batteries die, and cold mornings? Good luck. I've seen Hondas stall in traffic and Fords refuse to restart. And the fuel savings? Maybe $80 a year. One dead AGM battery wipes that out fast. This wasn't built to help you. It was built to help car makers pass emissions tests. Want to protect your engine? Turn it off. Or install a memory module that does it for you. Because if that system doesn't leave you stranded, this next one might roll your car right into traffic while you're still trying to figure out what gear you're in. Feature number 20. Electronic gear shifters. You know what never confused anyone? A gear lever that moves. Now, we've got buttons, knobs, and rotary dials that act like a puzzle box, right when you're trying to park or escape traffic. Fiat Chrysler had to recall up to 1 million vehicles, according to Consumer Reports, after their fancy electronic shifters caused rollaways, injuries, and even deaths. The NHTSA said drivers thought the car was in park, but it wasn't. And Consumer Reports slammed the design for being confusing, inconsistent, and dangerous. You tap a button, wait, and pray. 1 second too late? Your car lurches, or worse, it doesn't move at all. There's no mechanical linkage, only sensors, modules, and software. Spill coffee? Blown fuse? Weak battery? You're stuck. And that shift knob you used to rest your hand on? Gone. You are left with a blank panel and a prayer. Designers call it sleek. Mechanics call it trouble. And drivers? They call a tow truck. Speaking of tow trucks, let's talk about tires that were supposed to save you from calling one, until they leave you stranded with no spare, no patch, and no hope. Feature number 19. Run flat tires. Ever pop a tire? Reach for the spare. And remember, your car came with a can of goo and a sad little compressor? Yeah, I've been there. And if you've got run flats, you know that feeling too. Run flat tires were supposed to save you from being stranded. But here's the truth. They ride rough, cost more, wear faster, and can't be patched like normal tires. Hit a nail near the sidewall? That tire's toast. And guess what? Most cars with run flats don't come with a real spare, just a donut if you're lucky. So if the tire's too damaged to limp home, you're calling a tow truck anyway. BMW, Mini, Mercedes, they pushed run flats hard. But ask any tire shop. They're heavier, harder to balance, and often out of stock. Replacing a full set. You're looking at $1,200 easy. All for tires that promise freedom, then leave you stuck on the shoulder at midnight. Sometimes convenient just means inconvenient later. Nothing proves that better than a parking brake that sounds fancy, until it locks up, freaks out, or traps your car in place like it's being held hostage. Feature number 18. Electronic parking brakes. Remember when your parking brake was a lever you pulled? You felt it click and you knew it worked. Now, it's a button. Push to engage. Push to release. Until it doesn't. Electronic parking brakes use tiny motors inside your rear calipers. They talk to your car's computer and decide when to clamp or release. But when those motors fail, or your battery dips, you're not going anywhere. Winter salt, worn wiring, or one glitchy module is all it takes to lock your wheels in place. And unlike the old-school cable brakes, you can't jiggle it loose. You call a tow truck, then a dealer, then your bank. Some owners get hit with $1,500 repairs just to roll out of a parking spot. It's one more upgrade that took something simple and made it fragile. Sometimes less tech means more control. Next up, an engine feature that shuts itself off to save gas and ends up killing itself in the process. Feature number 17, cylinder deactivation. On paper, it sounds smart. Shut down a few cylinders while cruising to save fuel. In real life, it's a mechanical mess. GM's AFM and Chrysler's MDS systems are infamous for this. They deactivate cylinders mid-drive, then fire them back up like nothing happened. But that constant on-off causes uneven wear. Lifters fail, valves collapse, misfires show up. Then the engine seizes. I've seen trucks come in with less than 60,000 miles and lifters already chewed to dust. One failure can total the motor. Even if it doesn't break today, it starts burning oil fast. Some owners top off every week like it's normal. It's not. What's the real savings? Maybe a few bucks at the pump, but one bad tick and you're staring down a $4,000 engine rebuild. Fuel economy isn't worth it if the engine can't last. If your ride has this feature, listen for ticking. That's the sound of money leaving your wallet. Now, let's talk about turning on your AC. Good luck finding it buried in a touchscreen while doing 70 on the freeway. Feature number 16, touchscreen-only climate controls. Who thought getting rid of knobs was a good idea? Now, instead of twisting a dial, you're poking at a screen, hoping you hit the right menu while barreling down the highway. Need defrost? That's 3 taps deep. Want to crank the heat? Better not miss, or you'll blast cold air instead. And when that screen freezes or glitches, which they do, you lose AC, heat, defrost, and even recirculation. One cracked display, and you're sweating or freezing with no fix until the dealer opens. It's not just annoying, it's unsafe. Visibility matters, especially when your windshield's fogging and the touchscreen won't respond. Old-school knobs worked in gloves, in the dark, and at full speed. These screens? Not so much. Some automakers like VW and Mazda are already ditching them in newer models. Why? Because they're slick on brochures, but dumb in real life. Kind of like the next feature, fast on paper, jerky in traffic, and one bad shift away from a $3,000 meltdown. Feature number 15, dual clutch transmissions. Dual clutch transmissions were built for the track. Quick shifts, no clutch pedal, and lightning-fast performance. They work great in high-end sports cars, Ferraris, Porsches, even some Audis. But in everyday cars, it's a different story. These gearboxes use 2 clutches to preload gears. Sounds slick until they start jerking at low speeds, hesitating in traffic, or slipping during parking. Try backing up a hill in one. Good luck. Ford's PowerShift DCT in the Focus and Fiesta was such a disaster they got sued. Hyundai and Kia? Complaints everywhere about stalling, overheating, and software bugs. Even VW's DSG, which is better, still needs regular fluid changes and clutch adjustments to survive. When they fail, it's ugly. You're not just replacing a clutch. You're dealing with mechatronics, sensors, and software. Repair costs? Between $2,000 and $4,000, sometimes more, and many shops won't touch them. If you're not running laps on weekends, a DCT is more pain than performance. For daily driving, a good torque converter or manual still wins in the long run. But even the smoothest transmission won't save you if your engine's choking on carbon from the inside out. Feature number 14, direct injection engines. Direct injection sounds like a win. Fuel gets sprayed straight into the combustion chamber for more power and better fuel economy. But here's the catch. It skips the intake valves. With port injection, Fuel is used to wash the valves clean. With direct injection, that never happens, so carbon builds up fast. Thick, sticky gunk that clogs airflow, causes misfires, rough idle, and loss of power. You can't pour in a cleaner and fix it. The junk isn't in the fuel line. It's baked onto the valves. The fix? Walnut blasting. Shops shoot crushed shells into your engine to scrape the buildup off. It's messy, time-consuming, and can cost $400 to $900 depending on the engine. Brands hit hardest? BMW, Audi, VW, Mazda, and even some Hondas. Toyota got smart and added both port and direct injection in newer models. That's the best setup by far. If your engine's got direct injection only, keep your ears open. When it starts to cough, it's not asking for gas, it's asking for help. If you're learning something, or if this sounds a little too familiar, hit that like button and subscribe. Feature number 13. Panoramic sunroofs / glass roofs. They look amazing at the dealership. Full glass roof, sunlight pouring in, that luxury feel. But after a few summers, reality sets in. These things leak, rattle, and crack. The seals shrink. The adhesive weakens, and when they fail, you're not just replacing a sunroof, you're replacing a structural part of the roof. Cost: try $1,500 to $3,000 if you're lucky. Glass roofs also trap heat. On a hot day, your cabin can hit 140 degrees Fahrenheit, even with the shade closed. That means your AC works harder, your interior materials wear faster, and you sweat through every red light. They're also heavy. That glass adds weight high up, raising the center of gravity and hurting handling. In a rollover, they become a sheet of shrapnel if they shatter. Some insurance plans won't even cover them. And when it leaks, good luck proving it wasn't your fault. Looks cool, feels expensive. Sometimes a good old steel roof is the real luxury. Next up, convenience that drains your battery, hikes your insurance, and lets thieves drive off without even breaking a window. Feature number 12. Keyless entry systems. Manufacturers sell keyless entry as an upgrade. Turns out, it's just a high-tech way to drain your battery and hand your car to thieves. Modern keyless systems are always listening. If your fob's sitting too close, even inside your house, your car stays half awake. That slow draw kills batteries in under 2 weeks. No warning, no mercy. Now let's talk theft. With a cheap relay device, someone can clone your signal and drive away without breaking a window. You wake up, the car's gone, and the driveway's clean. Even when it works, the problems pile up. Handle sensor fail. Modules glitch. A dead fob? That's a $500 replacement, if you can even find it in stock. I've seen owners locked out, stranded, or forced to tow their car just to reprogram the entry system. Keyless was sold as smart, but the more tech they pack in, the easier it breaks or gets stolen. Now let's pop the hood and talk about something even dumber. Feature number 11. Plastic engine parts. Engine bays used to be full of steel and aluminum. Now, it's plastic everything. Coolant tanks, thermostat housings, oil pans, even timing chain guides. Why? To save weight, to cut costs. But under heat and pressure, plastic doesn't hold up. I've seen BMW expansion tanks explode at stoplights. Ford used plastic intake manifolds that cracked so often, they ended up in a class action lawsuit. GM's 3800 V6? The plastic melted from the inside out and hydrolocked the whole engine. These parts don't give you a warning. They split, warp, or blow apart fast. And because many are buried deep, the labor costs double what the part's worth. One cracked plastic coolant pipe can kill your motor. An oil pan with stripped threads? You'll be dripping oil in your driveway until it's replaced. This isn't innovation. It's cheap shortcuts in expensive places, especially when your whole suspension runs on air and hope. Feature number 10. Air suspension systems. You park it level. Wake up the next day and it's squatting like it just gave up. That's air suspension for you. One tiny leak and suddenly the compressor's running non-stop, trying to keep the car off the pavement. Then that burns out too. I've seen it all. Blown bags on BMWs, sagging corners on Land Rovers, full system failures on Mercedes before 60,000 miles. You don't get a warning, you get a tilt, a hiss, a sinking feeling, literally. Replacing one air strut? Over $1,000. The whole system? Forget it. Most owners end up converting to coil springs just to stop the bleeding. Luxury ride, they said. Feels like floating, they said, until you're stuck with a limp car and a $3,000 bill. Suspension should hold you up, not hold you hostage. Now let's talk cooling. Because the next part doesn't leak, doesn't squeak, it just quits. Feature number 9, electric water pumps. 1 minute, your car's fine. The next, the temp light's on, and your engine's roasting itself alive. Electric water pumps were meant to be an upgrade. No belts, better efficiency, and cooling even after shutdown. That's the sales pitch. But in the real world, they fail with no warning, no leak, no noise, just done. BMWs are notorious for this. Some Audi, Mini, and even Toyota models now use electric pumps. I've seen failures at 50,000 miles or less. The problem? These pumps rely on electronics, plastic housings, circuit boards, and tiny motors that don't age well. Heat and voltage spikes fry them. Then coolant stops flowing and your engine's done before you can even pull over. Replacing one? Around $1,500 to $2,200. Wait too long and you're looking at a full engine replacement. Coolant doesn't flow. Heat builds. You don't get a warning, you get a tow. Up next, wipers that try to think for you, and usually think wrong. Feature number 8, rain-sensing wipers. Rain-sensing wipers seem smart until it's barely misting and they're wiping like it's a hurricane. Or worse, it's pouring and they don't move at all. These systems use optical sensors near the rearview mirror to detect moisture, but glare, dirt, cracked glass, or even bugs can throw them off. Daily drivers often deal with wipers swiping dry or staying off in heavy rain. Instead of making driving easier, they become a distraction. You're stuck fiddling with controls or waiting for a system that's supposed to think for you. And if the sensor fails, replacing it can cost $300 to $800, especially when it's integrated into the windshield. Manual wiper stalks were never broken, but this upgrade adds complexity and gives you less control in the one system you really want to trust, your visibility. This next feature makes a simple job even harder. Feature number 7, driver assist systems. Driver assist tech was meant to reduce accidents, but in real life, it often creates new ones. Take lane keep assist. It can jerk your steering unexpectedly when road markings are faded or missing. Adaptive cruise control may slam the brakes in traffic for no good reason. Automatic emergency braking? It's triggered by shadows, signs, or even potholes in some cars. A 2023 IIHS study found that these systems failed to detect stopped vehicles in 40% of tests. And according to NHTSA, over 400 crashes were linked to driver assist features within a 10-month span. When they malfunction, the dashboard lights up, but the real pain starts at the dealership. Diagnosing these systems can cost hundreds. Replacing radar sensors, cameras, or control units can run into the $1,200 to $3,000 range, depending on your car. Worse, many drivers disable them after just a few months. They're too sensitive, unpredictable, and expensive to fix. For most people, these systems add stress, not safety. If you've made it this far, you're already smarter than most drivers. But are you falling for car myths that could be costing you big? Subscribe if you haven't yet. Feature number 6, low-tension piston rings. Automakers said low-tension piston rings would boost fuel economy. What they didn't mention? You'll be topping off oil between every fill-up by 60,000 miles. These thinner, low-friction rings reduce drag to help with MPG ratings on paper, not real-world driving. But with less tension, they don't seal well. That means oil sneaks past the rings and burns in the combustion chamber. You won't see a leak, but your oil light will come on, and fast. Engines like Subaru's FA20, GM's Ecotec 2.4-liter, and even some Mazda Skyactivs are known for it. Drivers are spending $4,000 to $7,000 on full rebuilds or engine replacements. Daily drivers just want to drive, not carry oil jugs in the trunk like it's normal. This isn't efficiency. It's a shortcut that backfires hard, and guess who's paying the price? Definitely not the automakers. And just when you thought filling up was foolproof, they took away the cap. Feature number 5. Capless fuel fillers. Manufacturers marketed these as a cleaner, quicker way to refuel. But for daily drivers, they often lead to bigger problems than they solve. The spring-loaded flap system is sensitive to dust, grit, and worn nozzles. And when that seal fails, your car triggers a check engine light tied to the evap system. Instead of replacing a $10 gas cap, you're now looking at a $300 to $500 filler neck replacement. Some cars even require bumper or taillight removal just to access it. It gets worse if you run out of gas. Most capless systems reject standard gas cans unless you use a special adapter, the one most people don't carry. What looked like progress? Just another over-engineered part waiting to fail. A small detail with a surprisingly expensive consequence. Feature number 4. Ambient lighting systems. That soft glow around your feet and door panels? It's not just for looks, it's a nightly distraction. Ambient lighting might feel premium, but at night, it pulls your eyes away from the road and makes it harder to focus on what actually matters. Glare across the windshield, color bleeding into mirrors, and constant brightness adjustments become a real driving pain. And when those LEDs start flickering or shorting out, you're not changing a bulb. You're digging into trim panels and dealing with wiring modules that cost hundreds to fix. Automakers sell it as luxury. What you're getting is one more thing that looks cool for 5 minutes and drains your attention and wallet. When you thought your battery was safe, they made charging unpredictable. Feature number 3. Variable charging systems. They were meant to be smart, charging your battery only when needed to save fuel and reduce drag on the engine. Sounds clever, right? But variable charging systems don't always work in your favor. Instead of supplying a consistent charge, these systems regulate voltage based on engine load, speed, and accessory demand. That's great in theory, but in real life, it often leads to undercharging, weakened batteries, and inconsistent voltage to critical components. Daily drivers especially feel the pain during short trips, cold starts, or heavy electrical use, because your alternator might not kick in when you actually need it. And when it finally fails, diagnosis is tricky, and replacements can cost $700 or more due to the integrated electronics. It's another case of tech chasing efficiency at the cost of dependability, and drivers are left stranded because of it. Next up, your car's latest update might fix a bug or brick your system. Feature number 2. Over-the-air system updates. Woke up to an update notification from your car? That's the new reality with over-the-air updates. No dealership visits, no cables, just Wi-Fi and a progress bar. Sounds convenient until something goes wrong. A botched update can crash your infotainment, glitch your safety features, or even disable drive modes. And unlike your phone, you can't always roll it back. Tesla, BMW, Ford, they've all had update issues that left owners locked out, stuck in limp mode, or missing features they paid for. Some updates even removed functionality without warning. Guess what? If your warranty's out and an update fries a module, that repair is on you. Over-the-air sounds futuristic, but when your brake system needs a patch, you're basically beta testing your own safety. Then there's the steering wheel, now loaded with more buttons than a TV remote. Feature number 1. Steering wheel controls. At first it made sense. Volume up, track skip, maybe a call button. But now, some steering wheels are cluttered with 15+ buttons, toggles, and touchpads. The problem? More controls mean more distractions. Drivers accidentally trigger voice commands, change menus, or hit settings mid-turn. Not great when you're trying to focus on traffic. Worse, all those controls are wired into the steering wheel's clock spring, a component that moves every time you turn the wheel. It's a wear point, and when it fails, it can knock out your horn, airbag, or all the buttons at once. And unlike a radio knob, these aren't DIY fixes. One failed control module or clock spring repair can run $400 to $900. It's convenience until it breaks. Then, it's one expensive button you never really needed. If you found this helpful, wait till you see what's next. Our next video reveals 17 habits to make your car last over 500,000 miles without repairs. Tricks that save you money, time, and headaches. Hit subscribe and stay tuned, because your car deserves better, and so does your wallet.